Welcome back to the Chaos and Carry-Ons podcast with Shelby.
And Stephanie.
Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, Every flight and every ride. Join the journey, come inside.
Okay, so today's episode is our Q&A episode. We posted this on Instagram and Facebook asking for questions, and you guys did not disappoint. Felt like we had some really good questions.
Yeah. And some of these questions are questions that we got about the cruise line episode, which is what you would have heard last week. But not all of the questions came in, so we're going to answer those today.
Yes. And some of them, they were asked again,
hmm
which we did cover in previous episodes, but we're just going to give like the speed version of those answers because I don't want to leave anybody's question out.
I know. I was very surprised we did not get any adoption questions or cancer questions. So we must have really scared you on our first episode. Like, we are not talking about this.
I know.
It's like,
But literally every question that we got is travel related,
I
which
know.
surprised me
It
because
did
I
me too.
figured we would have, I don't know. I mean, I guess people don't want to, they don't care about our personal lives. I'm not mad about it.
No, we're not that interesting, really.
Okay, so the first question we got was our favorite Disney Cruise Line ships versus least favorite. So my top favorite is the Fantasy, and my least favorite is the
Don't
Wish.
say it. Oh, you're
I
the
did.
people are so upset right now.
I know. Jordan, I asked him when I was typing up these questions, I asked him like just to see how he would answer. He says
hmm
his least favorite was the Magic or the Wonder,
hmm
just because they're the older ships. The
Yeah.
Wish was his favorite. That's what he said. So he was surprised
Really?
also to hear that being my least favorite. I mean, none of them are bad though. That was hard
No.
for me, but I think it's just the experience that I had on the Wish. I think it wasn't the ship itself. It just was that cruise. So
Yeah.
that's why that's my answer.
So we always do the dream. Somehow we've always ended up on the dream, but it's because I normally go for itinerary over ship. Now, if you're one of my clients, they're probably like yelling like, "That's not what you sell us to do." But for myself, that's just what I always do. Um, and it's hard because it's really just comes down to what's the most important to you. And like you said, none of the ships are bad. You can't go wrong on any of them. It's just
Mm-mm.
so I always go for itinerary over the ship. But the one that I want to try the most is the treasure. I don't know
I
which are
do.
you wanting to try the treasure or the destiny?
I want to try them both. Don't put me on the spot like that. Now, I will say I was super excited for the treasure until I
hmm
went on the Wish, and the treasure
Okay.
is a sister ship to the Wish. I mean,
Right.
they don't look identical, but the same layout and floor plan. So I'm
hmm
not as excited to go on the treasure as I was now. I mean, I'm still
Yeah.
going to, that's on my plans, but
Yeah.
I just am not, it's not a top priority trip for me, I guess
Yeah.
is the best way to say it.
Yeah. It's becoming lower and lower, I think, because that we want to do these cruises to, like I said, the itineraries being different. You
Hmm.
know, the treasure's going to, what is it, Mexico?
Hmm.
And
Well, it's
maybe,
places that we've already been. Well, I don't know if you've been on those itineraries, but we have. So that's another reason why I'm not just super like I'm going to book it today for tomorrow
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So the next question was what time of year is best for cruise? And this is one that we did cover in the cruise line, and we both answered May pretty much. Like Stephanie, I think in that episode said the end of April through early June with the
hmm
entire month of May. That's my favorite month to cruise. But we covered that in the Disney Cruise Line episode. So if you need more information on why we choose that, you can go listen to that episode if you haven't yet. And then favorite time of year to go to Disney World.
Hmm.
So I want to hear what you have to say first because I'm going to shock you with mine probably.
Okay. So let's start out with saying that this is probably one of the most dreaded questions now as a travel agent because when people say that, I think a lot of times they mean the lowest crowd, right? Is that
Mhm.
that's what they were asking, right?
Mhm. This question is favorite time of year to go to Disney. The next question is what are the lowest crowd levels and best weather
Okay.
months for Disney?
Okay, so this is just your favorite time. I'm probably going to shock Shelby with this one, but my favorite time to go is actually in the month of November because if you know me at all personally, you know that I'm not a big Christmas person, but the only place that I feel jolly is at Disney World during Christmas time. So I'm going to say that is my favorite time to go is in November.
I love, so we have been every single month of the year multiple times. Um, my number one favorite is September, but it is so hot. So if you can handle the heat, September is great as far as like crowds, weather, unless it's hurricane time. But
Hmm.
I mean, you can't really predict that. But other than September, I would choose June because when we went in June, we did pools and stuff during the day and went to the parks at night. And it's
Hmm.
not crowded through the summer, I think because people are scared of the Florida heat. So if you
Yes.
can handle the heat, that's the time to go and just do things early morning and late at night, and you're good. You're golden.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. What are the lowest crowd levels in the best weather months? And kind of piggybacking on what you just said,
Hmm.
I will say that, like she said, September is lower crowd levels, but in June, you're going to get the summer rain. Like it's gonna pretty
Hmm.
like if you're going in June, you're gonna get rained on. In September, you're really not, and so it's just gonna be hot all day.
And I feel like the fall is more humid than the spring. I don't
Yes, it
know if
is.
that's like scientifically proven, but I feel like it is.
It is.
I'm no
It definitely is.
meteorologist, but so I really like, as far as best weather, I think March or April because it seems like they have less spring rain than we do, and they have
Hmm.
more, like you said, summer showers. And then in the fall, you also run risk of hurricane, tropical storms, tropical depression, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So September is my favorite overall, but March or April, if you're going specifically on weather and not crowds, I feel like that's the perfect time to go.
I'm gonna say November for weather. It's like the hurricane season is over.
Hmm.
Um, to me, it's I don't know how I don't know. I just like I said, I really like to go in November. I think the weather is great. There is more crowds, but people are coming for the Christmas stuff, but it's not terrible yet until you start to get towards the end of November. But I don't know, somebody's probably listening to this being like, I went the first of November and it was awful. I mean, it can be bad. And anytime, I think really now, from the time that they start the Halloween party to the last Christmas party, expect it to be crowded.
Actually, I would expect it even later than that, and I would say after the New Year's crowd.
Yeah. I, really, like she said, now we've went at the end of February and we had pretty good weather, but it's really hit or miss.
Hmm.
But
Well, it's not very predictable, and the crowds are not predictable anymore either. So
no.
there's that. Um, the next question was, when is the best time to book a cruise? We also covered this question in the cruise line episode. So I'm just going to say, like, the sooner you book, the better you are. And if
Yes.
you want more details on that, again, refer back to the cruise line episode from last week.
Yeah, we went pretty, well, it wasn't super in depth, but we did talk about when is the best time to book a cruise.
Hmm.
And it's in the very beginning of the episode. The next one was pros of Disney versus the other cruise lines. I'm gonna make people upset, but I'm gonna tell a short story about one time that we were on our first cruise, and next to us was the Carnival, and our ship was staying still. Okay, and this was I don't feel like that ship was really that much smaller. It may have been a little smaller, but I don't think it was. But that ship was next to us, and we were cruising in May. It wasn't like the waves were not high, but that pool, like, because you could see over into the next ship when you're on the top, those top decks. You know what I'm talking about, like pool to
Hmm.
pool.
Hmm.
You could see the water splashing out of the pool. So it made me wonder if, which it probably was an older ship, but that's also something to be said. And I just told somebody this recently. If you're going on another cruise line or even a Disney cruise, the newer the ship, the better the stabilizers are going to be on that ship. Well, that witnessing that, I was like, I will never get on a Carnival cruise. That looks like we're not even hardly moving over here, and that was like, I don't know what was going on over there.
It's a party boat. There was a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
happening there.
yeah, yeah.
So, my answer, which I can't speak for other cruise lines because, as I mentioned in that episode, I've never done another brand, but my husband has. And he just said, I think they did Princess or Celebrity. I can't remember which one, but he said he felt like it was a retirement village on water.
Yeah, that's Princess.
So, my my theory is Disney is more family friendly. And also,
Hmm.
like in the last episode, I did mention like you do not have to have kids to go on a Disney cruise and enjoy your cruise. You do not, I mean, it's total, you could enjoy it even just going adults only. But I love that Disney does cater more towards family and kids because that's the stage of life that I'm in right now. I also really love that Disney Cruise Line does not have casinos on their ships at this time. I don't, the new ones, they might add that in, but I love that because I think a lot of the other cruise lines, you have to walk through the casino to get from one side to the other. We are not gamblers. We don't go to casinos. So that's I just feel like that's more room on a Disney cruise for family things, theaters, whatever that
Hmm.
other
Hmm.
cruise lines they offer casinos, so that's like taking up a lot of their space too.
Yeah.
So that's another pro for Disney on in my opinion.
I will say that if I was going to do another cruise, and I want to do a Royal Caribbean cruise, that's what I would pick is Royal Caribbean.
Hmm.
And that's what I also price for people. I'm not going to say more than Disney, but I'm going to say that's the second one. Like I've never had
Hmm.
somebody contact me about Carnival.
No, mine's the same.
I do get a lot of Royal, and I think they do a really good job at catering to families. It's just
Hmm.
that, like you said, they have a lot more. That, like they do have the nightlife where that's not really a thing on a Disney cruise.
I mean, Disney does, they have bars and lounges, and during the day, they use those for crafts and activities for kids and families, where at night, it's going to be more like adult only trivias and game shows and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I feel like after dinner, it does kind of switch over to the adult. And that's why I say, like, an adult could go on a Disney cruise without a kid and have a really good time,
Hmm.
and not just like spend their time with Mickey Mouse the whole week.
No, I don't know who want to do that.
I know, right? The next and all of these I feel like are cruise, but it's because that's when we posted this Q&A was like we were doing the cruise at the same time. So,
Hmm.
but these are questions too that we didn't cover in the cruise episode. But this one, she asked, "What do we pack or wear on cruises?" And my opinion is swimsuits and dinner outfits because we spend our entire day out on the pool deck. I do take Taylor like play clothes type clothes for when she wants to go in the kids club because they cannot go in there in
Hmm.
swimsuits. Um, and then I always get her some kind of themed outfit for pirate night,
Hmm.
like a pirate dress. I got the last one on Amazon for like $13. It was just a little pirate dress. It came with a little hat and an eye patch.
Yeah.
But it's very minimal. There are laundry rooms on Disney Cruise Line or Disney cruise ships. If you choose to do laundry on your trip, you can. But we honestly, like, I just pack her swimsuits and dinner clothes.
Yeah. Same. When I saw this, I was thinking, you know, that TikTok, it's like, I love this question. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That little sound. Um, because that is how that you can explain a Disney World or land trip versus a cruise.
Hmm.
You're packing beach, think beach pool wear,
Hmm.
and then like she said, something nicer. Now you don't have to because I see a lot of people just jeans and a t-shirt at
Oh,
the
yeah.
dinners. Now we
Hmm.
don't do that, but I see a lot of other people doing it.
Yeah.
But you just pack like your beach pool, your nicer dinner clothes. That's it. Like that's all you would
Hmm.
have to pack and you'd be fine.
Yes. So we usually wear like what we would wear to church is what we wear for dinners on the cruise.
Hmm.
If it's formal night, we do dress up. The longer cruises have formal nights, shorter ones don't. But the people that we sat with at dinner last time, they wore jeans and t-shirts every night for dinner. And I mean, it was fine. I mean, some people do, some people dress up. We didn't even have a formal night on our last cruise, and this guy that was a few tables away from us came in like literally in a tuxedo. So, I mean, Whatever floats your boat, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Just do it. Whatever makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody's gonna judge you either way if you're
Mm-mm.
wearing super casual or if you're dressed up. It you'll see it all. She also asked fun details for the kids on cruises. And we covered a lot of that in the cruise line episode as far as characters, kids clubs, and all that. But what we did not cover was like the crafts and trivia that they do during the days. I mean, there's
Yes,
always something going on, and it's physically impossible to do it and see it all on one cruise.
it is.
Taylor loves doing the craft activities, but she's into that kind of thing anyways.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some where we just do like coloring. We've done some where we're painting. We've done some like where you make the door magnets for your stateroom door. She's very much into that. They have some where you can learn how to draw Mickey Mouse or like random things like that too. And the newer ships have scavenger hunts that you can do as a family.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know that you have to go up to those paintings because we've done it before. They look
Yes.
like paintings, but when you walk up there, they get animated.
You have this little badge thing that you scan, and then it helps you to solve this. You're helping solve a crime of like the missing whatever on the cruise ship. So it's got you
Hmm.
going all over, and that's a good way to see the ship too.
Yeah, that's why we did it.
Haley, she loves those. So the Dream and the Fantasy have the same one. And then I saw people on the Wish. We didn't do it, but I saw people doing it, and it's virtual now on there. You use your
Hmm.
phone. There must be something on
Okay.
the app for the Wish, but that's really fun too. So I recommend that.
Did we talk about on the last episode? I don't remember how that the kids club is divided into the lab, like
No,
Oceaneer's lab and the club, because I
no.
was thinking later that we should have mentioned that if we did not.
We talked about the Oceaneers Club being like ages 3 to 12, but we didn't go into
Hmm.
detail on
Yeah.
what's there.
So since that question is specifically asking, that is, I would say, the biggest thing, I think, which we said that is the club, but the club also has the lab. And if you look on your navigator in the morning, it'll tell you like what's going to be happening at the lab. They make slime. They they just do all like little sciencey things. And that was one thing that Harper liked better was the lab versus the club.
Mhm.
Um,
Taylor on not the last cruise we did, but the one before that, she was in there and they got to make slime with Stitch. So
hmm.
they have characters come in. This last time she Belle came in and read them a bedtime story. It was like a pajama
Oh,
party.
that's cute.
But now making the slime with Stitch still sticks
Hmm.
out. And that was one of her first cruises. She couldn't have been more than three, maybe four.
Uh-huh.
And she loved that and still talks about it.
That's cute. Yeah. Well, they do a lot of really, really neat stuff in that
Mhm.
club.
And
Um,
adults are not allowed,
no,
unfortunately.
no, they're not. So the next one is what inspired your love of traveling, which I think we did talk about that in the very first episode, right?
Our introductions, we talked a little about it.
But it was funny because I actually saw this TikTok yesterday, and it was this woman, and she was kind of showing like her house. I think it said she had two kids, but she was showing that she grew up in a 900 square foot house, which is what I grew up in. And so when we booked that trip, we talked about it last time that me and Shelly booked I'm going to call it a bucket list trip that we've been talking about for years, and we booked it last week. I was thinking that it's almost like that little girl that lived in that little house. That's who's like excited
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
doing this trip. And I think that's what has inspired my love of traveling because I remember being little and wanting to see all those things, but
Hmm.
it seemed so unobtainable at that time.
I want to throw this out here, and we've joked just about every episode that our podcast is totally unscripted. We usually have like topics that to keep us from getting off track, but we don't like I don't know her answers and she doesn't know mine before. Like we do not talk about this until we're recording. So my answer to that I typed up last night, word for word, this is what I put. I didn't travel a lot as a kid, but when we did, I loved it. I always imagined traveling, wanting to see new places and experience all the things. So my answer was almost identical to yours, but I mean, we would go to the beach and we went to the Smokies when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. My first Disney trip, I was 14. So after that, then like when Jordan and I got married, that's when we started traveling because he also has a love for traveling. And
Mm-hmm.
we love going new places that we haven't done yet and seeing new
Mm-hmm.
things. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you, like my inner child gets so excited because I wanted to see and do all the things. I'm like you, like I didn't think that it would ever happen. And here
No,
we are.
no. I know. I know. Because my parents really didn't start traveling until I was older.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's who was like screaming, wanting to like run around the house after we booked that. It was the little
Hmm.
girl Stephanie, the little 7-year old
Hmm.
that thought you would hear of people going to places like that, but you'd think like Richie Rich,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But anyways, it's if you can, sometimes you have to give up something to replace travel.
You absolutely do. And that's I could talk about that. I'm gonna get on my soapbox now because people like make comments to us all the time about us traveling and going all these places. But the house that we live in is 40 years old. I mean, it's been remodeled, but like we do not have a brand new house. We opt out of a lot of things and replace that with traveling because
Yes.
life is short and the memories that we can make, like we do still save money. We put money back for retirement, but it's all balance. And
Yeah.
like you said, it takes sacrificing something else sometimes to make it happen. And
Right.
and we work very hard for our money, and it makes me really ill when people like throw comments like, "Oh, it must be nice." I'm like, "Yeah, it is nice, but you could do it too if you tried." I mean,
Well,
so
well, if people came in and looked around at my house, the outside is nice, but if they looked around inside, they're always like, "Oh, are you a minimalist?" I'm like, "No, we spend our money on vacation."
yes. I mean, you can do it. You could literally work a minimum wage job and you could find ways to do it. National parks are usually free. I mean, you could do vacations and on a budget, which is actually
You
one of
could.
the questions, but that just it really irritates me because yes, we travel, but we don't have boats we don't have like a lot of toys. We
No.
choose to spend our money on traveling, and that's why we do. But
Yes. Well, that we can go right into that because, like she said, the very next question was, what are the top tips for traveling on a budget? And now I will say that even though to everyone else it probably seems extravagant, which I'm not saying that some of these are not trips that we take, but every single dollar counts. So, like the next trip that we went on, and that's what I would say, even when you're going to be on a budget, what is important to you?
yes.
We have something that was very important to us on this next trip. So I forwent some other things that I wanted to do this.
Hmm.
So that's what I would say to start with when you start going to start your budget. This is
Hmm.
important to me.
Yes.
And this is what I
And
want to do.
when we started planning our California trip, I don't know if you remember or not, but I sent you a list, like a breakdown, like this is all
Hmm.
the things that I would like to do. Now, did everything make the final itinerary? No. But over time, we talked about it, weighed out pros and cons, and we also realized that we didn't want to go spend $40,000 on a vacation. So,
Yeah, not in California.
no. So, my top tip for traveling on a budget is booking as much as far in advance as you can so you can make
Hmm.
payments. And
Yes.
this is like the big ticket things because I know Stephanie's probably rolling her eyes because I literally just bought our Disneyland tickets like 3 days ago and I
Yeah,
leave in 2 weeks.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I booked
um,
mine as soon as I could because for that
yes.
reason, I wanted to get it paid off.
Well, your hotel, your flights, all of that, usually you're getting a better deal the further in advance you book it, anyways. But I
Hmm.
love booking that as soon as I know that I'm going so I can make payments on it
Hmm.
and to save the most money because the prices are only going to go up.
Right. So, because you'll hear some people that'll say, um, I've always wanted to stay at a deluxe resort, but it's too expensive. But then maybe they do a lot of sit downs, eating, in the park, or Maybe they spend a lot of money. I'm just even throw it like on, souvenirs. And you wouldn't think that all of that stuff would add up, but it absolutely
It
does.
does. And you could forego 2 trips to All Star Movies and stay
Mm-hmm.
at Wilderness Lodge or Animal Kingdom Lodge. You might
Right.
not get to do a deluxe every single year, but if you skipped one of your trips to add that money to what you've saved to the next trip, you could absolutely do a nicer resort, fewer park days,
Mm-hmm.
whatever to make it happen. If there's a will, there's a way. You could do it.
There is. Well, I'm also going to say this from being a travel agent, and I don't know if Shelby agrees with me. I think that you can get a better deal in October than you can in March. I don't know why that is. You can also get a better deal in June
Hmm.
than, let's
Oh
say,
yeah.
December.
And and we're not, we've said it 1,000 times, we're not pushing booking with
Right.
us. But that is a perk to using a travel agent because when Disney releases those promos, when I see that email come through that there's a new promo for whatever month and whatever savings, I immediately go look through every client that I have that's traveling within that time frame and see if I can save them any money. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a perk to having a travel agent. And I'm not saying that so you'll book with me. I'm just, that's another pro and that's
Mm-hmm.
another way to save money.
Yes. Yeah. So that would be my number one thing is though, write down what's important to you and then budget for that. Deduct from your other things.
And I know you do this too. I check the flights over and over and over after I
Yes.
book my flights, and I call in the second that I see the price drop to get a refund. Now, it may
Mm-hmm.
only be $5. Last time it was $25, which Jordan laughed when I told him I saved $25 off your flight. And he laughed at me. But like you said, every dollar counts. And that's $25 that can go towards our Mickey ice cream sandwiches.
Yes, yes. I do the same thing. I actually, the lady was like, "Do you really want to do this? You're only saving $10." I said, "Yes, I do." She goes, "Oh,
Hmm.
well, okay." You could tell that she was like thinking she wanted me to say, "Oh, no, it's fine." No, I wanted ten
Yes.
dollars because it was $10 a ticket.
Hmm.
Well, I have five t tickets. That's $50.
You also can find, if you're going to, let's say, Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York City, you can look on Groupon
Mm-hmm.
for museum tickets, zoo tickets, aquariums, stuff like that. And they are usually significantly less. Now, there are some sketchy things on Groupon too. That's kind of like buyer beware, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've saved a lot of money by buying like extra things that we want to do through
Mm-hmm.
Groupon.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I will say is that if you want to save money on the park tickets, go during a time when you could do the water park.
Mhm.
If you do just a water park day, that one is actually a lot less than going into the park. Now, I
Mhm.
think like if you add the water park option onto your ticket, I can't remember how much that is to add it. But anyway, when we just bought that little after hours Typhoon Lagoon Day, which we still have to do an episode about that.
Mhm.
I was very surprised at how cheap it was, especially even
Mhm.
compared to Volcano Bay.
And that was in June.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also ask for gift cards for any holidays, birthdays, anything. Like I've had my birthday is coming up very soon, and like my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law asking me like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I'm like, "Disney gift card," because I'm going on my trip, and that's another way to put money back. I mean, I tell people like for Taylee for Christmas, if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what to get her, just give her a Disney gift card because we're going if we don't already have a trip booked, we will. So it'll always get used. And then the last thing that I had for traveling on a budget is to use a credit card and get a good travel credit card. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
credit card options out there. And it just depends if you want flight points, hotel points, however, but it's literally free money on the money that you're already spending anyways. Put everything on that credit card and you'll rack up points. You can use those points. We did not pay one dime for our flights to Hawaii because we use Southwest points.
And we're not paying anything to go to Disneyland because we did chase Sapphire points.
Yes.
I am about to open up a Capital One because I was reading just a few days ago that they're doing like a special on airline miles for like signing up. I can't remember the
Hmm.
conversion, but
It was good because I just looked at it too.
Yes, I'm gonna get that one to do the miles to this cruise that we just booked. So see,
Yes.
we're doing this very far in advance because
Hmm.
that cruise is over a year away.
Yes. That is my number one. Now, I know a lot of people are scared of credit cards and don't like credit cards, and that's kind of how we were when we first got married. Now, I literally put every single dollar that I spend. I rarely ever use my debit card because I just use my credit cards and then I turn around every Friday and pay it off at the end of the
Yeah,
week.
that's what we do.
And we have built up so many points over the years doing that, and it's free money. You might as well.
Yeah.
So, that's my last tip as far as like budgeting goes.
Well, the next question, I'm very excited to hear your answer to it. So go ahead.
So, this question was actually submitted by my 7-year old because I was trying to get us like more questions. So, I asked her and she came up with this, and I was so proud of her because I think it's a great question. So,
Yeah.
she asked, "What is your all-time favorite Disney ride?" And I seriously sat there and thought about this for probably 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. And I have it narrowed down to four because I could not pick one. So, so my number one favorite ride, which is not really a ride, but it's just comforting and it's nostalgic and I love it. In Magic Kingdom, it is
Hmm.
the Carousel of Progress.
Oh, that's hilarious.
My number one favorite. And I'm telling you, I'm going to insert the Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow song right here just so you can have it in your head all day.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a dream away.
I don't think I was actually telling Derek I don't remember anything about that ride because it's been so long since I've been on it.
I love it's so dumb. It is so dumb. But I think because that was Walt Disney's thing, like that was his. I don't know. I absolutely love the Carousel of Progress. And anybody that goes to Magic Kingdom after hearing this, if you've never been in there and you do it, don't judge me. I
That's
love it.
hilarious.
So then, but that's like I said, that's not really a ride. It's more like a show. You sit in
It
the
is.
seats and it like rotates around. It's just like the progression of America, like from they start at, I don't know, the 20s maybe and go up and you just see how things progressed from then until now. It's
Yeah.
really neat. Um, but as far as like rides go,
Hmm.
I had to do a two-way tie between Flight of Passage and Tron. Those two are both
Really?
my favorite, my absolute favorite, like rides.
That shocks me that you didn't pick a classic ride because that's what I picked.
I know what you're gonna say because you've already
You
mentioned
do?
it before.
Well, I have mentioned it before, but I changed it for this episode.
Oh, okay. Well, then
I
I
would
don't know
say
what you're gonna say.
I was between that because I was thinking, what do you when you think of Disney, what do you think of? And I said it before, I always think of Small World.
Hmm.
But my absolute favorite ride of like I have to ride this every time I go to Disney. That is Pirates of the Caribbean.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was
I
waiting
have
on you to
to.
say it.
I have to ride it. That's one of my favorite. The smell.
I know I
Can
could
you
smell
smell
it
it right
right
now?
now. If you know, you know.
You do, yes. You and well, they said Johnny Depp's only been there one time, but you look for him every
We
time.
do. And
Every time.
I knew you were gonna say that because Pirates is not a must do for us. And when we went last year and did the after hours in June, we rode Pirates and I mean, we rode basically everything, but
Hmm.
that was the first time that I've ridden Pirates in years. And I was laughing because I knew we only did that because of you. And so
Yes. We have to ride Pirates. That is my
I knew
favorite
you were
ride.
gonna say that. My honorable mention is Toy Story Mania because
Hmm.
I love that and I have never been beat. Never. I
Oh, that's
always
hilarious.
beat Jordan. And then my trick is switching up. So for anybody that hasn't ridden it, which if you're listening to this, you probably have, you are in like this little cart and you have like a gun basically that you're like shooting at targets and you pull this little string to make your gun go.
Hmm.
And I will switch back and forth between my right and left arm because
Hmm.
your arm gets tired. If you are serious about Toy Story Mania like I am, your arm gets tired really quick.
It does.
Well, when we went in January, it was the first time I was there after my surgery. And I
Hmm.
had some lymph nodes removed on my left side. And so that arm is like I've barely used it since last summer because I'm just scared of getting lymphedema.
Hmm.
And when that Toy Story Mania car started going, I wish you could have seen my face because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to use my left arm and I'm finally going to lose. But I didn't. I still beat Jordan by about 50,000 points.
That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. And I'm surprised that you picked all new rides.
I know. No, Carousel of Progress
Oh,
is
that's right.
literally
That's
the
right.
oldest
That's right.
ride at Disney
That's
World.
right. But because I was thinking like for my second one, um, the one that I had in mind was Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
That
I
also
do like
feels
that.
very
Hmm.
Disney-esque.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of Disney, to me, that's what I think of is the old
Hmm.
rides. So the next question being, what's the most underrated travel destination you visited? And I was thinking, oh, I don't really know. Do you? I'll let you go ahead
I
because you
do.
said you had it wrote down.
The most underrated that I have visited is Sedona, Arizona. And
What?
I wanted to do this so bad, and Jordan he would not give in. He was just like, what is there to do in Arizona? There's nothing there. It's just desert, cactuses, red rock. Like, there's nothing there. So I
Mm-hmm.
finally convinced him to do it. And now it's still one of, like, if you asked him what is one of the best vacations that you've ever done, Sedona is in his top three. And he still tells everybody that it's one of the best trips we've ever taken.
Well,
So
I
I
was
feel
thinking,
like
who thinks that this is underrated? Okay, apparently Jordan.
yeah. I mean, because he was just like, and I even remember him telling, like, I think he told his mom after we booked it, like, he basically was doing it so I would shut up because I wanted to go to Arizona so bad. And he just was like, there's nothing there. And
Yeah.
then we got there, and now he's
Hmm.
like, like I said, he doesn't hesitate telling people that's one of the best trips we've ever taken. It's absolutely beautiful.
I really cannot think of where I would say was underrated because I guess that's what I feel like it's very hyped. Like everything, every trip that we've taken is very hyped.
Hmm.
I guess, and this is going to sound hilarious, but for me, what immediately came up to my mind is like Chicago, but I think it's because I've been so many times
Hmm.
that, when people like ask me like, oh, like, what do you do? And I'm like, it's great. Don't get me wrong. But I guess I get tired of it because we went to it so many times. But like a one hit wonder type deal where we've only went like one time, and I felt like it was underrated. I will say Myrtle Beach is what I felt like. We went in with very low expectations to Myrtle Beach because everybody was like, it is the Smokies of the beach, is what
Hmm.
we heard.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. Now we stayed on it was I want to say North Shore because I'm thinking Hawaii, but it's like North Myrtle Beach because they have
Hmm.
North and they have South. I think that's just what it's called, the North side.
So you stayed on the other side of the train tracks, is what you're
Correct.
saying.
Correct. We were like right across the street from like a very nice, like there was like a Lulu's. If you're from the South, you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of what else was there. Things that you would see if you went to Gulf Shores or if you went to the Smokies.
Hmm.
Combine those things. Paula Deen restaurant, stuff
Hmm.
like that. But that was like right across the street. It was nice. I liked it. I'll say that was underrated. Chicago to me is a little bit overrated. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So the last question is, what is the most beautiful natural scenery you've seen?
Mm. I feel like that's going to be a given. We've talked about it so many times.
We have, but I have two answers. So
Okay.
also in Sedona, we did a hike called the Devil's Bridge,
Hmm.
and it was absolutely terrifying. It was like 7 or 8 miles. It was up, like literally climbing up the side of a mountain, which I didn't realize we were going to have to do. But that was at the end, like right before you see the view, and I didn't go that far not to go that far. So I
Hmm.
did it, and the views were incredible. It's just one of those like you just had to sit there and look at it moments.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was the first one for me. And then when we hiked Diamond Head and Oahu, the views from there, you could see the North Shore, you could see like Ko'olina, you could see where Pearl Harbor is. You could literally see, I mean, I would like to say you could see the entire island. I don't think you really could, but the views from there, it was amazing. And my mom even was saying like that she couldn't even imagine how beautiful that heaven would be because of how beautiful the views from that and she knows heaven will be even prettier than that, which is
Hmm.
just hard to even comprehend because of how beautiful it was.
Yeah. I would say for that it was when we went to the Kahlua Ranch because that like I have pictures of it and I was sending it, but when I was looking at the pictures, like even as was sending it, I'm like, it's not capturing what it really
No.
looks like.
Mm-mm.
You hear people say that. Like they'll say, well, I looked at the pictures. Like they don't need to go because they looked at the pictures, but the pictures are
Yeah.
never the same.
Pictures do not do, especially like when it's mountains and stuff like that. Even, I mean, I love a good sunrise or sunset picture, but pictures never do it justice. It's
No.
always prettier in person. And so don't not travel because you've seen pictures on your Google Home in the kitchen.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, go see it with your eyes. It's so much better.
Yeah. Don't 10 years from now see us in Japan and think, well, we lived vicariously through this.
No, I know, right?
It's so funny. Somebody recently was saying something like they couldn't believe that that was like on our list. I guess we don't seem like this type of people, but I was thinking, oh, the list is so long.
I
The
know.
list is so, so long. People would probably be shocked at some of the things that we have planned.
I thought about us making that an episode, like calling it a bucket list episode, but
Yes.
I don't know because I feel like we would be so harshly judged. We would be judged by the length of the list for starters, but also
Yes.
like some of the things, like she said, Japan. Most people probably don't care to go to Japan, but that's
No.
like pretty high on our bucket list.
It is. We want to do it so, so bad. I'll throw this out there. One of Derek's bucket list trips, and has been for a very, very long time, is Australia.
Hmm.
And we've talked about doing that. We have a plan for my 40th birthday. We have not even brought that up because it's far enough away, guys. Don't put me at 40
It's
yet.
it's not that far though. It'll be here before we know it.
But if that comes to fruition and we actually take that trip, that's going to be another one that I think people are going to be shocked, especially because I'm not a Christmassy person. And it's revolving around Christmas.
Well,
But
that's what you get for your birthday being December 25th.
exactly. But I really I'm pushing that, constantly bringing it up. Derek actually just talked about it the other day. He was like, "Well, you do want to take that one birthday trip." And I'm like, "Yes, we're taking it. We are going. That'll be a fun trip." We should do an episode where we do the bucket list, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe we should keep it to ourselves because for the surprise element.
We keep throwing enough hints in this podcast, they're going to have our entire bucket list if they just piece it together. But you'll have to listen to every single episode to get the entire list.
Yeah. It's, well, I was thinking about this because when we booked this trip, we actually, Shelby was wanting something different. I'll say that. And I was like, no, we're just going to do that a different time. We'll
Hmm.
just have to do that a different time. So it was also a really good itinerary,
Yeah.
but you'll have to wait and see. We're going to be like constantly plugging this trip. Yeah.
Y'all let us know if we haven't talked about something that you want us to cover. But we're getting a lot of requests for more podcasts, but we need to know what you do. You want chit chat? Do you want specifics? Like, we need to know what you want to
Mhm.
hear.
Yeah. I think we said we might do a chit chat before we leave for California. So I don't know where that's going to fall on the schedule, but
Hmm.
all right. Well, I hope you guys have a good week. And the next episode will be, have we decided?
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess you'll have to stay tuned. It'll be a surprise to even us.
It may be a chit chat. It may be the Disney water parks.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It may be something totally random. I just stay tuned. Come back next Monday and you'll find out when we find out.
May your flights be on time and your luggage never lost. But if it's not, that's where the fun begins. Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Pack your dreams, grab your bag. Adventures call, let's Sig and Zag.
From castles tall to ocean waves, magic made for wanderers brave. Theme parks light up the night, starry-eyed in sheer delight. Board the ships, set sail and see endless tales and fantasy. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside. From Mickey ears to Dole Whip tree, pixie dust beneath our feet. Through the lands and sea we roam, feel the wonder, feel at home. From rope drop to the fireworks show, lose yourself in the joyful glow. Cruising waters, feeling free, every twist's a memory. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside. Inside.